Dr. Zeska wiped grime from the metal surface, using her 6 delicate fingers. The vault had lain buried here for 40,000 years, forgotten in the ruins of a lifeless city on a dead world. She belonged to the Vilnari, a people renowned throughout the galaxy for unearthing secrets in forgotten places. But this particular secret made her scales go cold. The instant she made contact, the vault flickered to life, flooding the dark chamber with blue light. Symbols materialized in the air, twisting and shifting, repeating a message in every language. The vault understood, hundreds of them, thousands all carrying the same words. The sleepers of Soul 3 are not what they appear. They wait. They watch. Her team gathered around her. Krell, her assistant, tilted his head. Sol 3, that's Earth, right? The primitive world in the restricted zone. Yes, Zeska said slowly, something twisting in her gut. Fear, maybe, or something close to excitement. But why would the predecessors leave a warning about Earth? They vanished 40,000 years ago. Earth had nothing back then, just wildlife, and early humans huddled in caves. She copied the data and carried it back to her ship. For 3 sleepless nights, she dug through every archive she could access, ancient records, sealed files, excavation reports from 100 different worlds, and uncovered something that shouldn't have been possible. The predecessors weren't the first to leave a warning about Earth. The Kraxel Empire had vanished 2 million years ago, a civilization so powerful they built ships capable of cracking planets open like eggshells. Their final archive, recovered on their homeworld, carried this message: do not approach the third world of the Yellow Sun. They are not what they seem. We learned too late. 800,000 years back, the Harmonics had governed 50 star systems, masters of genetic manipulation. They vanished within less than a century. Their last words, carved into a moon: we tried to improve them. They improved us instead. We are no longer ourselves. The Ven Collectives, gone for 150,000 years. The Cathans, the Dross Unity, the silent monks of Andromeda. Every great civilization that had gone extinct left behind a similar message, every one of them pointing toward that same small blue world. Earth. Zeska stared at her screens in the silence of her ship. Earth was supposedly a nothing world. Everyone knew the humans there were classified as primitive. They'd nearly wiped themselves out in wars 600 years back and had gone quiet ever since. No radio chatter, no spaceflight, no reply to outreach attempts. The Galactic Council had declared the Sol system off-limits, giving humanity room to either recover or fade away naturally. But what if that assumption was wrong? She called up star charts millions of years old, tracing the routes taken by long-extinct species, and her blood turned to ice at what she found. Every extinct race had sent ships to Earth, sometimes dozens at once. According to the ancient logs, not a single one ever came back, not destroyed, not crashed, simply gone without a trace. This can't be right, she whispered to herself. She checked the modern records next. Over the past 600 years, the Galactic Council had launched 17 automated probes toward Sol. Every single one had stopped transmitting the moment it reached the edge of the solar system. The Council chalked it up to aging hardware or random malfunctions. 17 malfunctions, every one in the exact same spot. Zeska made up her mind. She compiled her findings into a report and requested an emergency session with the Galactic Council. They'd probably think she'd lost her senses. They might laugh at her outright. But someone needed to hear this. Earth wasn't sleeping. Earth was hiding. And every race that had ever uncovered that truth no longer existed. The Council station drifted in neutral space between 3 major empires. Zeska's ship docked, and her legs trembled as she made her way through the corridors. She'd never felt this kind of nervousness before. She was a scientist, someone who dealt in dead things, old things, safe things. This felt different. This felt dangerous. The council chamber was enormous, its seating arranged in rising circles toward the ceiling. Representatives from 40 species occupied those seats, some scaled like her, some furred, some nothing more than clouds of gas suspended in containment fields. Every eye turned toward her as she entered. Dr. Zeska, the council speaker said, his voice deep and worn thin. You requested this emergency session, claiming evidence of a galaxy-wide threat. Present your findings. She activated her holographic display. Images of dead worlds filled the center of the chamber. Ancient warnings, star charts, streams of data documenting the failed probes. Honored council, she began, forcing steadiness into her voice. I've uncovered a pattern in the archaeological record. Every major extinction of a spacefaring species over the last 3 million years shares one common thread. Every one of these extinct civilizations visited Earth shortly before vanishing. Silence gripped the room. Then someone laughed. Others followed. Earth? Scoffed a representative from the Koran Empire. The primitive world. With respect, Doctor, you're imagining connections that aren't there. I thought the same at first, Zeska replied, switching displays. But look at the numbers. The Kraxel sent 43 ships to Earth. None returned. The Harmonics sent 62. None returned. The pattern holds across every extinct civilization we know of. Coincidence, another representative said, or the ships simply broke down or crashed. Every single one? Zeska challenged. And what about the warnings they all left behind, everyone saying the same thing? A new voice cut in from the military section. She may be onto something. Admiral Court rose to his feet, capped by species, towering, plated in armor. His people commanded the second largest military force in the galaxy, and when he spoke, people listened. I have access to classified intelligence. We've sent reconnaissance drones toward the Sol system 47 times over the past 6 centuries. Every drone lost transmission at the edge of their system. Our analysts blamed technical faults, but 47 failures in the same place isn't coincidence. That's something else. The laughter died. Court walked down to stand beside Zeska. I propose an investigation. A small fleet. Observation only. We find out what really happened to those extinct civilizations and why it keeps tracing back to Earth. Earth is protected under council law, the speaker reminded him. Then we observe from outside their system, Court replied. We break no laws. But we need the truth. The council argued for hours before finally voting. Court got his mission, but with strict limits. A small fleet remain outside the solar system, no contact with Earth, no weapons, observation only. Zeska was assigned as science lead. As they left the chamber together, Court walked beside her. You think they're dangerous, she said quietly. I think they're hiding, Court replied. And anything that manages to stay hidden this long, while entire civilizations collapse around it, is either extraordinarily lucky or extraordinarily dangerous. I don't believe in luck. The fleet assembled within 3 days, 5 ships, skeleton crews, the finest sensors available, and jumped into hyperspace toward the Sol system. None of them realized they were already being watched. None of them knew Earth had long expected visitors eventually. And none of them understood that humanity had learned, ages ago, that the safest disguise was helplessness itself. Earth had spent 600 years pretending to sleep, but humanity had never truly rested. They'd waited, they'd watched, and they remembered every species that had ever threatened them. The fleet was coming. Humanity was ready. The trip to Sol took 3 weeks through hyperspace. Zeska spent most of it buried in data inside her cabin, with Admiral Court checking in every few days. She was uncovering more than she wanted to know. Look at this, she said, showing him a timeline on her screen. Roughly every 70,000 years, a dominant civilization disappears. Not gradually fast. Within a few generations. Court leaned in, his armor plating clicking softly. I see the pattern. But what's causing it? That's what terrifies me, Zeska said, pulling up another file. Every extinction follows right after that civilization shows heightened interest in Earth. More ships, more probes, more surveillance, then gone. You think Earth is killing them. I think Earth is defending itself. But by the old records, Earth shouldn't be capable of that. They're primitive or they were 600 years ago. Firing chemical rockets, fighting with metal bullets. Court made a low sound of contemplation. What changed 600 years ago? Why did Earth go dark? Zeska had wondered the same thing and had already tasked a team member with digging for the answer. It came back within the hour, and it made her scales prickle. 600 years ago, humanity had cracked quantum entanglement, communication instant messaging across any distance. No radio waves required. 1 month after that breakthrough, every radio transmission from Earth simply stopped. They didn't go silent, Zeska said, showing Court the data. They outgrew the technology we know how to detect. They're still talking. We just can't hear them anymore. Court said nothing for a long stretch. That means they have had 600 years of development we know absolutely nothing about. 600 years of building, learning, growing, and we assumed they were dead or primitive. Exactly. The fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system. Every sensor snapped online instantly. Crews moved fast, gathering data, watching for danger. Zeska stood on the bridge of Court's flagship, eyes fixed on the screens. Sol was an ordinary yellow star, unremarkable in every way. 9 planets circled it. The third was Earth, a blue and green jewel wrapped in swirling clouds. No ships detected, the sensor officer reported. No satellites, no stations, nothing artificial in orbit around any planet. What about the Oort cloud? Court asked. The officer worked his console, then froze, his face draining of color. Admiral, you need to see this. The main screen shifted to the outer solar system. The Oort cloud should have shown nothing but scattered ice and rock in chaotic disarray. Instead, the debris formed patterns mathematical, precise, almost like letters or numbers, a kind of code written in ice across billions of kilometers. That's not natural, Zeska whispered. How long has it looked like that? Court demanded. The officer checked the archives. Last decent scan of this region was 80,000 years ago. The formation was already there. 80,000 years. Arranged that way for 80,000 years, and no one had ever noticed, or no one who noticed had lived to tell anyone else. Admiral, another crew member said, voice trembling, we have a problem. Report. We can't move. Engines are online, power's fine, but we're not going anywhere. Something's holding us in place. Court fought to stay level. All ships, report status. Every vessel in the fleet reported the same thing, stuck. Not damaged, not under attack, simply held as though invisible hands had seized them and refused to let go. Zeska felt her heart's race. No weapons detected. No ships, no energy readings. We're just stuck. Then every communication system across every ship activated simultaneously. A voice came through, speaking flawless galactic standard, though the accent was strange, almost archaic, like someone who'd learned the language from centuries-old textbooks. Welcome, travelers. We've been expecting visitors eventually. Please don't be alarmed, you're not in danger. We simply prefer to talk before you get too close. Silence swept the bridge. Everyone stared at the console. Court found his voice first. This is Admiral Court of the Galactic Council Fleet. Who is this? We are humanity. We are Earth. We're the ones you came looking for. You're holding our ships. Yes, gently. As I said, we prefer conversation first. You're not prisoners, you're guests. Unexpected ones, perhaps, arriving without calling ahead. There was humor in the voice. Zeska couldn't believe it. Trapped by an invisible force, and the voice sounded amused. We mean no harm, Court said. We came only to observe. We wanted to understand why extinct civilizations left warnings about your world. Ah, so you found the warnings. Good. We left those for a reason to give future civilizations a choice. A choice? The choice to approach us with curiosity instead of conquest. You chose curiosity. That's why you're alive, talking to us right now. Something new appeared on the sensors of ship, though unlike any Zeska had ever seen. It seemed to exist and not exist simultaneously, her instruments registering it in 5 different positions at once, as though it occupied multiple realities at the same time. The vessel drew closer, small, roughly shuttle-sized, and settled near Court's flagship. "We're coming aboard," the voice said. "Please prepare to receive us. And try not to be too unsettled. We've been told we can have that effect on first-time visitors." A docking tube extended from the human vessel. Court glanced at Zeska. She glanced back. Neither knew what to say. Finally, Court gave the nod. Let them board. The doors opened. 3 humans stepped through unassuming at a glance. 2 legs, 2 arms, 1 head, dressed in simple, comfortable clothing. 2 men, 1 woman. They smiled, showing teeth, but something about them felt wrong. Zeska couldn't quite name it. They moved too smoothly. Their eyes held too much awareness. When they looked at you, it felt like they could see straight through your thoughts, your fears, your secrets. "I'm Ambassador Chen," the woman said. "These are my colleagues. Thank you for receiving us." Court stepped forward, nearly twice her height and armored head to foot. Somehow, she still seemed more dangerous. "Why are you holding our ships?" "Because the last 47 probes that entered our system uninvited were taken apart for study. We felt living visitors deserved better. Besides, we have a great deal to discuss. The extinct civilizations," Zeska said. "What happened to them?" Chen's smile faded. "That's a long, sad story. Perhaps we should sit." They moved to a conference room, humans on one side of the table, the council delegation on the other. Zeska activated her recorder. "Let me start with a question," Chen said. "What do you believe happened to those extinct races?" "We don't know," Court said. "That's why we're here. They died because they made a mistake. They looked at primitive humans on Earth and decided we'd be easy to conquer, enslave, or wipe out. They were wrong. You killed them," Zeska said softly. "We defended ourselves. There's a difference. We didn't hunt them down. We didn't chase them across the galaxy. We simply ensured they could never threaten us or anyone else again. All of them. Every extinct race came to conquer you." Chen nodded. "Everyone. For 3 million years, aggressive species have found Earth. And for 3 million years, we've endured. We don't start fights. But we've never lost one." Court leaned forward. "How?" 600 years ago, you were barely spacefaring. How did you defeat civilizations with millions of years of advancement? Because 600 years ago wasn't when we started. That was simply when we stopped pretending. Chen's smile returned, sadder this time. "We've hidden our true nature for a very long time, watching, learning, waiting." "Waiting for what?" Zeska asked. "Waiting to see if the galaxy could grow up. Waiting for a civilization to finally approach us with questions instead of weapons." "You're the first in 150,000 years. The room went quiet. Zeska felt cold. "You've been testing us. All of us. Every civilization. Not testing, observing. Hoping. We don't want to rule the galaxy. We don't want conquest. We just want peace. But peace requires strength, and sometimes strength demands consequences. You're going to show us what happened, aren't you?" Court said. "Yes. You came for the truth. We'll give you all of it. But be warned, once you see what we're about to show you, you can't unsee it. You'll understand why the galaxy fears us, and you'll have to decide what to do with that knowledge." Chen rose. "Follow us. We're going to Earth. We're taking you to the archive." The human ship released Court's fleet from whatever had held them. The invisible grip simply vanished, as if it had never existed. But now the ships followed voluntarily, moving deeper into the solar system. Zeska watched through the view screen as they passed Mars, then entered Earth's orbital space. She expected cities, stations, unmistakable signs of civilization. Instead, Earth looked empty and serene blue oceans, green continents, white clouds drifting overhead. Beautiful. Quiet. "Where is everything?" she asked Chen, who stood beside her on the bridge. "Everything's here. You just can't see it. We've learned to be subtle." Chen gestured toward the moon. 3 million people live on Luna. Can you detect them? The sensor officer shook his head. Nothing. No heat signatures, no structures, nothing. Exactly. We build our cities underground now in ocean depths, inside hollowed-out asteroids. We learned long ago that being obvious makes you a target. Invisibility keeps you safe. The fleet settled into orbit. A section of Earth's surface split open, mountains sliding apart like great doors, revealing a hangar vast enough to hold all 5 ships. "Land your vessels," Chen said. "What you're about to see can't be conveyed through screens or holograms. You need to experience it directly." Court gave the order. As the ships descended, Zeska spotted thousands of humans working below, moving among machines and vehicles that defied her understanding, some familiar, most utterly incomprehensible. They disembarked into a massive chamber carved from solid stone, its walls smooth and etched with symbols that seemed to shift whenever you weren't looking directly at them. "Welcome to Earth," Chen said. "You're currently 3 kilometers beneath the Himalayan range. This facility is the archive of rendered judgments. It holds the complete history of every species that has ever threatened our world, what they were, what they did, and what we did in response." Zeska felt nausea rising. "You keep records of the species you destroyed. We keep records so we never forget the cost of violence. So we remember why we fight. And so we can show people like you the truth." They moved through corridors of living rock. Other humans passed, nodding politely, some curious, none surprised, as though alien visitors were a routine occurrence. "How many humans are there currently?" Court asked. "About 15 billion. Most on Earth, some across colonies in the solar system, a few on outposts beyond." Court's plates rattled in shock. "Our estimates put Earth's capacity at 2 billion, at most. Your estimates were based on surface observation. We've had 3 million years to master efficient living. We could comfortably support 50 billion if needed." 3 million years, Court repeated. Chen kept returning to that figure, and Zeska finally had to ask. "You said 3 million years, but humans only evolved recently, 200,000 years ago, maybe less." Chen stopped and turned to face them, her expression grave. "That's what your scientists believe. They're wrong. Humans have been on Earth for 3 million years. We were placed here. Placed by whom? By a race so ancient they no longer carry a name. They're gone now, ascended, or dead, we're not certain which. But before they departed, they created us, gave us a purpose. What purpose? To be gardeners, to watch over younger species, to protect, to guide when necessary, to prune when absolutely required." The word struck Zeska like a physical blow. "You're saying humans are guardians, keepers of the galaxy, in a way, though we prefer to stay hidden." "A garden grows better when the gardener isn't casting shadows over everything." They entered a massive circular chamber lined with crystalline structures glowing with light from within, each one holding data, memories, entire civilizations compressed into storage. "The archive," Chen said quietly. "Every species that threatened Earth is preserved here, their history, their culture, their final moments. We keep them because forgetting the dead dishonors their memory, even when they were our enemies." She touched one crystal, and it lit up, projecting an image of an insect-like species with multiple limbs and compound eyes. The Kraxel Empire. 2 million years ago, they arrived armed with planet-cracking weapons. intending to harvest Earth's core for raw materials. They scanned us, saw primitive humans living in tribes, and assumed we were animals. They were wrong. The hologram shifted, showing Kraxel warships, hundreds of them, dark and menacing, entering the solar system. Then it showed what followed. Human vessels appeared but didn't attack. Instead, they quietly seized control. Every Kraxel computer, weapon, life support system, all of it suddenly answered to human commands instead of Kraxel ones. We infiltrated their networks within 3 hours, Chen explained. Took their ships within 6. Within 72 hours, we controlled every piece of Kraxel technology across their entire empire. We didn't destroy them. We simply turned everything off. The hologram showed Kraxel worlds going dark, not exploding, not burning, just powering down like a switch had been flipped. Their civilization collapsed in silence. Chen continued. No violence, no bloodshed. We just took away their ability to threaten anyone. Kraxel survivors still exist today as pre-industrial societies on their homeworlds. They've forgotten they ever ruled the stars. Court's voice came out shaky. You lobotomized an entire civilization. We removed their weapons and their aggression. They're still alive, still growing, still learning, just peacefully now. Chen moved to another crystal, revealing beings composed of light and sound. The harmonics. 800,000 years ago, they arrived as genetic engineers, viewing humans as raw material for experimentation. They wanted to improve us, make us theirs. The hologram showed harmonics descending on Earth, capturing humans, altering their DNA, trying to reshape them entirely. We let them, Chen said quietly. We allowed ourselves to be taken, to be changed, then we turned their own modifications against them. We rewrote the harmonics from the inside out, changed their biology, their thought patterns, their fundamental nature. The hologram showed the harmonics growing more solid, more physical, more human. Within 3 generations, the harmonics no longer existed. They'd become human. Billions of them live on Earth today. They don't remember ever being anything else. Zeska couldn't speak. The horror was overwhelming, entire species erased, absorbed or shut down, and humanity had carried it out with chilling calm and efficiency. Chen moved to a third crystal. The Ven Collective, 150,000 years ago. They came as conquerors, not after our resources or our genetics, but our submission. They wanted slaves. The hologram showed massive Ven warships approaching Mars, preparing to invade. They never made it. The hologram displayed weapons that made Zeska's mind recoil just watching, stars flickering, reality bending. The Ven ship simply ceased to exist. Not destroyed, not scattered, erased from space and time itself. We demonstrated what we were capable of, Chen said. Showed them weapons that could unmake matter, edit reality, make entire species forget they'd ever existed. The Ven fled the galaxy entirely. As far as we know, they're still running. Court finally found his voice. Why show us this? Why not simply kill us and add us to your collection? Chen to face them, her eyes heavy with sorrow. Because you came to learn, not to threaten. In 3 million years, you're the first civilization to approach us with curiosity instead of weapons. That matters. That changes everything. So we live because we asked questions. You live because you showed the galaxy might finally be ready. Ready to grow up, ready to take responsibility, ready to understand what we've been doing all this time. And what have you been doing? Zeska asked. Chen's smile carried no joy. Protecting you, all of you, every species in this galaxy. From things that would terrify you, threats beyond the galactic rim that you don't even know exist. She activated another display, showing the galaxy's edge and, beyond it, in the darkness between galaxies, things moving massive, impossible things that made Zeska's every instinct scream to flee. We don't just tend the garden, Chen said quietly. We guard it. We fought a war for 3 million years that no one else knows about, keeping threats out. keeping you safe. Tired. Tired. Court asked. Tired of being alone. Tired of carrying this alone. Tired of pretending to sleep while we watch the darkness. Chen looked at them both. We're ready to share the truth, ready to ask for help. The question is, are you ready to help us? Chen led them deeper into the archive, through corridors that seemed to stretch endlessly, lined with crystals holding the memories of dead civilizations. Zeska tried counting them, giving up somewhere past 100. Thousands more remained. How many? She asked quietly. How many species have you dealt with? 372, Chen answered without hesitation. Over 3 million years. Roughly one extinction every 8,000 years, on average. Some centuries pass peacefully. Others bring multiple threats at once. They entered a smaller chamber holding only a dozen crystals, though these pulsed with brighter light than the rest. These are different, Chen said. These are the ones that made us question everything. The ones that nearly broke us. She touched a crystal, revealing beings of pure energy, both beautiful and terrible. The luminous ascendancy, 1,000,000 years ago. Explorers, scientists, philosophers. They came seeking knowledge, not conquest. We welcomed them, shared our history, our technology, our culture. Hope stirred in Zeska's chest. They were friends? For 3 years, yes. We thought we'd finally found equal species we could walk beside instead of hiding from. Chen's voice grew heavier. Then we learned the truth. They'd been studying us to find our weaknesses, planning to upload our consciousness into their network. They believed it was a gift. The hologram showed the betrayal unfolding, luminous ships surrounding Earth, beams of light descending, trying to seize human minds. We fought back. But this time it hurt. They were our friends, or we believed they were. The hologram showed human defenses activating, the luminous ships dissolving into nothing. We absorbed their technology, learned from their science, but we never trusted so easily again. Court watched, horrified. You've spent 1,000,000 years isolated because of one betrayal. Not isolated, cautious. There's a difference. We had each other, and we held on to hope that someday someone would prove us wrong about the galaxy. Chen looked at them both. Maybe you're that someone. She moved to another crystal, revealing beings that looked almost human. 2 arms, 2 legs, expressive faces. The kindred. 600,000 years ago, they resembled us so closely we wondered if we shared ancestry. They arrived bearing gifts, food, medicine, technology. They wanted trade, cultural exchange, peace. What went wrong? Zeska asked, dreading the answer. Nothing at first. For 50 years, we built cities side by side, shared meals, learned each other's languages. Human children played with kindred children. We thought we'd found family. Chen's hand trembled slightly as she touched the crystal. Then their true purpose arrived: colony ships, millions of them. They'd spent those 50 years studying our defenses, our culture, our weaknesses, planning to replace us slowly and peacefully. Simply move in and outnumber us until Earth belonged to them. The hologram showed human faces registering the betrayal, shock, hurt, fury. What did you do? Court asked. We made them forget. Every kindred throughout the galaxy. We released a quantum virus that rewrote their genetic memory. They forgot Earth existed. They forgot their mission. They forgot the 50 years we'd spent together. The kindred still exist out there. Somewhere they simply have no memory of us. Tears welled in Zeska's eyes. She rarely cried. But this was too much. You erased yourselves from their history. We erased their betrayal from ours. It was the kindest solution we could find. They're alive content. They just don't remember breaking our hearts. Chen moved to the largest crystal in the room, pulsing with dark red light. The harvesters. 150,000 years ago. This is the closest we ever came to losing. The hologram showed endless swarms of self-replicating machines consuming everything in their path: planets, stars, life itself. They weren't alive in any sense we understood, just hungry. They'd already devoured 3 galaxies before reaching ours. When they arrived at Earth, we barely held them back. The hologram depicted a war stretching decades, human ships against machine swarms, weapons converting matter to energy, energy to nothing, entire solar systems spent as ammunition. We stopped them 3 light-years from Earth. Destroyed every last machine. 14 billion humans died in that war. The only time we've ever taken losses on that scale. Chen's voice dropped to barely a whisper. We learned from that. We built the defense grid, the structures beyond the galactic rim to ensure nothing like the harvesters could ever catch us off guard again. Court straightened. The structures beyond the rim. We've detected them. We assumed they were natural phenomena. They're not natural. They're weapons, sensors, barriers. We built them to shield the entire galaxy from outside threats. Every species living in this galaxy has done so safely because of those structures, and none of you ever knew. Why didn't you tell us? Zeska demanded. Why keep it hidden? Would you have believed us? Would you have trusted us or seen us as a threat instead? Chen shook her head. We learned long ago that honesty about our capabilities just breeds fear. Fear breeds aggression. Aggression breeds conflict. So we stayed quiet. Stayed hidden, did the work without asking for recognition. She deactivated the holograms, and the chamber returned to normal light. But we're tired of secrets. Tired of being alone. That's why we're showing you all this, because you deserve the truth, and because we need help. Help with what? Court asked. Chen led them to one final chamber. No crystals here, just walls displaying live feeds from sensors beyond the galactic rim. And in those images, things moved in the darkness. Shapes that hurt to look at. Forms that defied geometry. Presences radiating pure malice. They're coming, Chen said simply. More harvesters. Different ones. Worse ones. They'll arrive within 5,000 years, maybe sooner. We can fight them. We'll probably win. But we can no longer protect the entire galaxy alone. We need allies. We need partners. We need the galaxy to grow up and help defend itself. Zeska stared at the feeds, fear gripping both her hearts. 5,000 years, that's so soon. In galactic terms, it's tomorrow. We've spent centuries preparing, building weapons, training soldiers, fortifying defenses. But there's only so much we can accomplish alone. Court stepped closer to the feeds, his military instincts taking over. What do you need from us? We need you to return to Galactic Council. Tell them everything you've witnessed. Convince them humanity isn't a threat, we're protectors, and we need them to start preparing for war. They won't believe us, Court said. They'll assume we've gone mad or that you manipulated us somehow. Then we'll give you proof. Technology, demonstrations, whatever it takes. But time is running short, and we can't afford centuries spent convincing people of our good intentions. Chen turned to face them fully. We're offering the galaxy a choice. Join us, help us prepare for what's coming, share the burden of protection. Or, she paused, we continue as we have, silent, hidden, alone. We'll fight this war ourselves, and most of the galaxy will never know how close they came to extinction. That's not really a choice, Zeska said. It is. It's a choice between growing up or remaining children, between taking responsibility or letting someone else carry your weight, between partnership and protection. Chen's gaze was intense. We don't want to rule you. We don't want to control you. We want to stand beside you as equals. But equality means sharing both the rewards and the burdens. Court fell silent for a long moment. If we convince the council, if they agree to join you, what happens then? Then we begin preparing together. We share our technology. We train your militaries. We build defenses side by side. And when the enemy arrives, we face them as one galaxy, not as humans protecting everyone else alone. And if the council refuses, Chen smiled sadly, then we respect their decision. We retreat into the shadows. We fight the war by ourselves, and the galaxy carries on, never knowing how close it came to annihilation. We've managed this for 3 million years. We can manage it for 3 million more if we must. That's not fair, Zeska said. You shouldn't have to sacrifice everything while the rest of us live in ignorance. Life isn't fair. But it's precious worth protecting, even when those we protect don't understand what we're shielding them from. Chen placed a hand on Zeska's shoulder. That's what it means to be a gardener. You do the work because the garden matters, not because anyone will thank you for it. Court made his decision. We'll convince them. Somehow, the council needs to know. Good. Then let's get you back to your ships. You've a long journey ahead, and we've given you enough nightmares for a single visit. As they walked back through the corridor, Zeska glanced at the crystals holding the memories of extinct civilizations, all those species gone or transformed, all those threats neutralized by humanity, and the galaxy never the wiser. Ambassador Chen, she said quietly, thank you for protecting us all this time. Chen stopped walking. For the first time, she looked vulnerable. You're the first person to say that in 800,000 years. The Luminous thanked us once, before their betrayal. Since then, everyone we've dealt with came to us as enemies. Well, we're not enemies. No, you're not. And that gives me hope. Chen's smile turned genuine. Maybe the galaxy really is ready to grow up. The journey back to the council station took 3 weeks. Zeska and Court spent every day rehearsing their testimony, reviewing recordings, organizing data, practicing their delivery, though both knew no amount of preparation would make this easy. They're going to think we've lost our minds, Court said on the final day before arrival. Or that Earth brainwashed us somehow, Zeska added. She examined the data Crystal Chen had given them before: departure proof, technology schematics, sensor readings, historical records, evidence that humanity's story checked out. But we have proof. That has to count for something. The ships docked at the council station. News of their return had already spread. The council chamber was more crowded than Zeska had ever witnessed it. Representatives from every major civilization gathered to hear the report. Some looked curious. Most looked doubtful. The speaker called the session to order. Admiral Court, Dr. Zeska, present your findings regarding the Sol system and Earth. Court stood first, his bearing projecting confidence, despite the slight tremble in his hands. Honored Council, what we discovered upends everything we believed about Earth and humanity. I ask that you hear our full testimony before rendering judgment. Proceed, the speaker said. For 2 hours, they laid it all out: the archive, the extinct civilizations, the weapons, the betrayals, the defense grid beyond the galactic rim, the coming threat. When they finished, the chamber sat in silence. Then chaos broke loose. Impossible, someone shouted. Humans are primitive. It's manipulation. Another voice called. They've been controlled. This is propaganda to justify Earth's isolation. The speaker demanded order, and it took several minutes for the noise to settle. These are serious accusations, the speaker said carefully. Claims that, if true, would rewrite our understanding of galactic history. What proof do you offer? Zeska activated the data crystal. Holograms filled the chamber, technology defying known physics. Sensor readings from the defense grid, time-stamped records spanning 3 million years of human activity. The arguments resumed. Some dismissed it as fabricated. Others demanded independent verification. A handful of representatives sat quietly, studying the data with mounting unease. Then Ambassador Chen's face appeared on every screen in the chamber simultaneously, and this time, the broadcast wasn't confined to the station. It was going out across the entire galaxy. Greetings, Chen said. I am Ambassador Chen, speaking for humanity. I apologize for the interruption, but time is short, and the galaxy deserves to hear this directly. The chamber fell silent. Across the galaxy, billions paused to listen. For 3 million years, we've stayed hidden. We've watched civilizations rise and fall. We've shielded the galaxy from threats you never knew existed. We've done this alone, in silence, believing the galaxy wasn't ready for the truth. Chen's image shifted to show the defense grid, the massive structures beyond the galactic rim, holding back the darkness. These are our defenses. We built them to protect everyone. Every species in this galaxy has lived because these structures keep the predators out. You've lived in peace, never knowing how much danger surrounded you. The image changed again, revealing the approaching threat shapes moving in the void between galaxies. Some council members cried out. Others turned away, unable to watch. They're coming. New harvesters. Worse than before. They'll arrive within 5,000 years. We can fight them. We'll probably win. But we can't protect every world, every species, every life alone. We need help. Chen's face returned to the screens. We're offering the galaxy a choice. Not an ultimatum. Not a demand. A choice. Join us in defending our shared home. Take responsibility for your own survival. Become partners in protecting this galaxy. Or we continue as we have silent guardians in the shadows. She paused, letting it settle. But understand this. We're not asking for worship. We're not demanding obedience. We're tired. We've carried this weight for 3 million years, and we want to share it. We want partners, not subjects. Equals, not servants. The question is, are you ready to stop being children and become adults? The broadcast showed glimpses of human life cities, children playing, families together, scientists at work, artists creating. We're not monsters. We're not gods. We're simply people handed a responsibility we never asked for. We've done our best. We've made mistakes. We've been betrayed. We've lost friends. But we've never given up on protecting life, all lives, including yours. Chen's expression softened. The galaxy has a choice. Join us in preparing for what's coming, and we'll share our technology, our knowledge, our experience. We'll stand together against the dark, or remain as you are, and we'll respect that too. Will keep protecting you, and you'll never have to know what we fight. She leaned toward the camera. But I hope you choose differently. I hope you choose courage over fear, partnership over protection. Because this galaxy is beautiful, and it's worth fighting for together. The transmission ended. The screens went dark. The chamber sat in absolute stillness. Then one representative rose. Then another. Then dozens. Within minutes, half the chamber stood from fear, not from anger, but from something closer to respect. We, the speaker said, voice unsteady, need to vote on how to proceed. Wait, a voice called out, the same Koran Empire representative who had laughed at Zeska's original presentation. Before we vote, I have a question for Admiral Court. Do you trust them? Court didn't hesitate. Yes. I've seen what they've done, what they've sacrificed. They could have destroyed us. They could have conquered this galaxy 1 million years ago. They chose to protect instead of dominate. Yes, I trust them. Dr. Zeska, another representative asked. As a scientist, do you believe their evidence is genuine? I've verified everything they showed us. The data is real. The threat is real. And humanity's protection of us has been real. We've been living in a garden this entire time, without knowing who tended it. The speaker called the vote, all in favor of accepting Earth's partnership and preparing for the coming threat. Hands rose. Appendages lifted. Lights flickered across the chamber. The count took several minutes. When it finished, the result was unmistakable. 87% in favor. By the authority of the Galactic Council, the speaker announced, his voice carrying across the galaxy, we accept humanity's offer. We hereby establish the Garden Protocol. Earth will no longer remain isolated. Humanity will share their knowledge and technology. In return, we commit to standing together in defense of our galaxy against all threats. Cheers broke out across the chamber. But Zeska noticed something not everyone was celebrating. A few representatives looked angry, frightened, resentful. She made a mental note to watch them closely. Not everyone would accept humanity's revelation without resistance. Over the following months, everything shifted. Human ships arrived at major worlds, bringing technology and teachers. Defense stations rose. Militaries trained. Scientists collaborated on projects that seemed like pure magic. Zeska was named primary liaison between humanity and the Council, working alongside Chen nearly every day, absorbing human culture, history, and philosophy. You know, Zeska said one day, reviewing defense plans together, some species resent this. They don't like discovering they were protected without their knowledge. I know, Chen said quietly. Pride is a powerful thing. Some would rather die free than live protected. We understand. It's why we offered a choice. What if they choose to fight you instead of the harvesters? Then we'll defend ourselves. But we won't strike first. We never do. Zeska studied the star charts, tracking the approaching threat. 5,000 years seemed like a vast stretch of time yet, also far too little. Do you think we'll be ready? I think we'll try. And sometimes trying is enough. Chen smiled. Besides, you'd be amazed what people accomplish when they work together. We've had 3 million years of practice. You're fast learners. Together, we might just stand a real chance. Months became years. Preparations continued, and something unexpected happened, something Chen hadn't anticipated. Other species began contributing ideas, techniques, and perspectives humanity had never considered. The Volnari, Zeska's own people, uncovered ancient defensive technologies and ruins that even humanity had overlooked. The Cathrish offered military strategies that complemented human tactics. The gas cloud species contributed insights into energy manipulation that transformed weapon design entirely. Humanity had been alone for so long that they'd forgotten the value of diverse perspectives. The galaxy, working as one, was accomplishing more than humanity ever had by itself. Chen stood on a human orbital station, watching construction crews assemble the new defense platforms. Zeska joined her at the viewport. "Thank you," Chen said suddenly. "For what?" "For proving us wrong. For 3 million years, every species that discovered us either tried to destroy us or betrayed us. We assumed that was simply how the galaxy worked. But you've shown that cooperation is possible, that trust can exist. You're the ones who took the real risk," Zeska pointed out. "You revealed yourselves. That took either courage or desperation." Chen laughed softly.